when we were going to go to Uganda, we're like, well, I think we need a tour guide in Uganda. Like, I'm not really sure how to even do it without one.
Yeah.
So we did the tour, we did the whole package thing where you kind of just pay a set amount and you go. And first of all, liberating, just such a liberating vacation. I didn't feel like I had to take care of everything. Like, we just went to a place to eat. I didn't have to take all the time to like figure out where was good. Like, they just took us to the really nice restaurants, places they know and they like.
Hi, I'm Kim Tolson and I'm the traveling therapist. It's my passion to teach therapists how to navigate online private practices and multiple income streams so they can travel the world. I'm a digital nomad with a virtual insurance-based private therapy practice and a multi-six-figure coaching business. I'm obsessed with entrepreneurship and developing tools that can help therapists live an adventurous lifestyle. In this podcast, I will discuss my journey as a digital nomad. I'll chat with other traveling therapists and help you navigate the complexities of running an online insurance-based practice. I'm so glad to have you with me on this journey. Managing a successful private practice can be challenging, even if you have all the skills and experience you need to support clients. Most training programs offer little to no guidance on running your own business. That's why Alma gives clinicians the tools they need to build a thriving private practice. When you join Alma, you can get credentialed with major insurance payers within 45 days, as well as guaranteed payment within 2 weeks of each session. You can also attract clients who are the right fit for your practice with a free profile in Alma's searchable directory. As you build your caseload, Alma also offers time-saving tools and administrative support, so you can spend less time on paperwork and more time delivering great care to your clients. Visit helloalma.com/Kim to download your free guide to identifying and connecting with clients who are the right fit for your practice. That's helloalma.com/KYM to get your guide. This is part 2 of my interview with Shelly Blancq. She is a travel hacker and runs a travel agency and has her own travel podcast. And we had so much that we wanted to talk about in this episode that I decided to break it into 2 parts. This is the start of the second part. I hope you enjoyed this part as much as the first.
Now you want to talk about some credit cards?
I do. Yeah. Now I am like not the greatest hacker with this stuff, but I just recorded a presentation around this because I'm trying to get better with it and also give lots of tips. So I'm really excited to hear how you manage this for sure.
Yes. So I will just give a caveat that I'm fairly new, although I tend to get quite obsessed about things and really deep dive into them. Yeah. So we've only been doing it a little bit for probably 5-6 years.
Okay.
But just with a Capital One card. Mm-hmm. I don't know which like ecosystem you live in really, because there's kind of a few, right?
Yeah.
There's Capital One, Chase, Citibank, and Amex.
Right? Yeah, mine are the ones I'm like on right now are Amex and Chase. I'm using both of those like sort of interchangeably right now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And those are the best for transfer partners, which I'll kind of talk a little bit about in a minute. But Capital One is where we started because it's so easy. Like if someone's a little hesitant about travel hacking, I always say to start with Capital One because they have a very low entry. The Venture X card is $95 a year. And if you meet the minimum spend, which is like $3,000 in 3 months, which I definitely can meet $3,000 in 3 months, then you get 60,000 points is usually kind of the offer, 60 to 75, depending on, sometimes they come out with bonuses. That's 60,000 points in Capital One money. If you don't transfer it, you just erase it, which is an option for any travel purchase you make anywhere. So like if you buy a Southwest flight or you do a Hertz rent-a-car or whatever, you stay at a hotel, those are all considered travel purchases and you can just erase the purchases at 1 cent per point. So 60,000 points is $600.
Oh, nice. Gotcha.
Yeah. So just by, signing up for this card, $95 and hitting that minimum spend, now you have $600 in your pocket for travel expenses. like just like that.
Nice. Wow.
It's so fast. And when I think you've done your first redemption, like actually getting travel for those points, you start to be like, wait a minute, that worked. Because I know the first time I did it, I booked a plane ticket back in like 2017, I think. I was like, they're not going to let me on this plane. Like, this cannot be a real plane ticket that I bought with no money. Like, it can't be real.
Yeah, isn't it crazy? Yeah.
Yeah, and they let me on the plane. So it definitely worked. So Capital One is a good one to kind of start with if you're a little wary about the whole credit card situation. But Chase and Amex are actually going to give you better bang for your buck. Again, you got to do a little bit of legwork here. It's not as easy as the eraser, but Chase and Amex have better transfer partners. So what that kind of means is instead of erasing a purchase at 1 cent per point, which is a fixed, like it's always 1 cent per point. Yeah. You can transfer your points into loyalty programs. So for example, like Chase transfers to Southwest, right? And Southwest has pretty good priced in terms of points flights. So you can get a flight from JFK to Chicago for 5,000 points on Southwest. And that same flight is $250, but it's only 5,000 of your Chase points. So in Capital One money, that'd be $50. But in Chase money, that's a plane ticket. You know what I mean?
So smart.
Yeah. So you can transfer them to different partners, and both Amex and Chase have, I think, better partners, although Capital One does have partners. So it's not like you can't dabble in that if you decide to start with Capital One and then you're like, actually, I'm going to do a little more. They do have partners. I just think that the Chase and Amex ones are kind of easier to find good redemptions for.
Interesting.
But it can be crazy. So just to give you a fun little story, we've been doing it like pretty hardcore for about a year. We've opened up between me and my husband. So they call that player one and player two, or like the person you want to do it with to kind of build your points together. So between my player one and player two, we have opened up probably 7 or 8 credit cards in the year, maybe probably closer to 7. But anyways, we've opened up a lot of credit cards. Yeah. And some of those are business cards. So we have a travel agency and a podcast, and my husband does freelance singing. So we have legitimate businesses that have LLCs, but you can do really anything on the side and get a business card. Pet sitting, like delivering for Uber Eats, really like any type of kind of side gig that you do, you can pretty easily qualify for a lot of these business cards, and they have zero annual fee a lot of times. And they just come with a big hunk of points when you meet the minimum spend.
Amazing.
Yeah. So you're talking about Chase that you have. Do you have any Chase business cards?
Yeah. I've been thinking I need to do that because my business card is like through my bank. So it's just like cash back. It's like 3% cash back rewards or something crazy like that. So I've been doing it through that, but I need to get a business card too. So I'm glad we're talking about this. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Chase Inks is where you want to go since you have a Chase card, you said, because they are no annual fee. Most of them. There's one that's got $95, but the other like 3, I think, have 0. And they give you, I hit a promo last year with 90,000 bonus points for sign on. And we did 3 cards like that. So I got 2 and my husband got 1 on this 90,000. So that's
for all the businesses, for the 3 businesses. Oh, smart.
Yeah. Yes. And so, but just to give you an idea. So the Chase, one of them, the Chase Cash, Ink Cash, the business card gives you 5 times at office stores, which you're thinking, okay, so I buy some toner and some paper. Like, how much am I really going to use 5% at an office store? But office stores also sell gift cards, and they're still going to show that it's an office store.
That is so smart. Oh my God.
We just went to Disney. I know, it's great. It feels illegal. That's why my friends always are like, this is a little weird. Yeah, but it totally is. You can look at the thousands of blogs that talk about it too. But that's so my husband and I, we just went to Disney as a business trip, also not a horrible business trip. So this is a legitimate business expense, but we bought gift cards, $500 gift cards at Staples on this business Inc. And so we got 5 times the points on our entire Disney trip because we used Yeah.
Oh my God. What gift cards? Like just
a Disney gift card.
Oh, Disney gift cards.
Yeah. We literally just bought like $500 Disney gift cards. Yep.
Oh my God. So then you can spend them anywhere in Disney?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even know that there were Disney gift cards, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You can pay your hotel with them. We even did this really cool thing that I think is underrated, which is we have our magic bands. So we like scanned to pay with our magic bands, which charges it to our hotel. And then every couple of days, we just stop by the guy with the iPad and be like, can we pay our room? And he'd scan our band and swipe the card. And just we pay it off with the gift card. So we didn't even have to keep taking the gift card out. We just like scan with the magic bands.
Genius. Yeah. Oh my God, that's so smart.
Yeah, so
love it.
Those business cards can come in handy for sure, especially if you know you're going to have a bigger expense. You can go and like, you know, you're going to do some home reno stuff. So you're going to go to Lowe's a lot. So go buy $1,000 in Lowe's gift cards and you turn your, 1 or 2% cash back or, points to 5. That's
quickly. Amazing. Oh my God. I am all over that.
I've
got the rest of my day planned.
This does take a little legwork. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not as easy as the Capital One where you just, erase your purchases and it's 2 times the points on everything. And that's the easiest way. But if you really want to get into it, there are other ways. And it doesn't take you, like I was listening to podcasts a year ago, listening to people talk just like I am now and thinking, yeah, okay, but like how many years did it take you to accumulate all the points? And it's been 1 year for us. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, our credit scores have never been better. So it's not like it'll ding them for a minute because it's a hard pull in the credit and everything. So you want to space them out. You don't want to just 3 days in a row be applying for credit cards. So you want to space them out. And we've been going back and forth. So that's how we have 6. It's just like 3 and 3 or 3 and 4. And we just do it like every 60 or 90 days because we also have to hit the minimum spend and you don't want to manufacture your spend. So like spend what you don't need to just to get the credit card bonus. You don't want to do that either. Yeah.
That's what I always tell people. It's like, if you cannot pay this thing off, do not run it up. It's like not going to benefit you in any way. Right.
Absolutely. And that 2 times points you get, you're about to pay 20% interest on it. So do not do that.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So smart.
But just to give you an idea of like what transfer, I know I mentioned the, JFK to Chicago, but an even more fun one is, I obviously mentioned the Norway trip a few times, but at the end of our Norway trip, we actually are ending in Copenhagen. So not Norway. And so we have to get back to the US. Obviously. And I was thinking Copenhagen to New York, there's not a lot of flights. So of course they're more expensive. So I did like some searching, and Frankfurt's a big European kind of hub, Frankfurt, Germany. And so I found out that I only needed 6,000 Chase points. Again, I think it's through United to go from Copenhagen to Frankfurt. So 6,000 points a piece. So I was like, okay, well, that's not expensive. So let's see what Frankfurt to JFK could be then, because that might be cheaper. And I found flight. And it's 60,000 points a person. So that's a lot. That'd be like $600 if you're thinking Capital One money. But it is a business class, like lie down flat seats that retails for $4,000 a piece.
Oh my gosh. Are you serious? I've always wanted to do one of those flights.
I me too. And so we're doing it. We're doing it
oh my gosh.
At the beginning of August, I guess. We're going to go full lay down seats and champagne. Awesome. Like the whole thing. And you have to pay taxes and fees with points. So I think we paid $150 a piece.
Wow. That's incredible.
Lay flat business class seat. It's wild what you can
exciting.
Get. Yeah. I mean, it just is like, and we've had to pay the 6,000 points to get to Frankfurt, but that's an hour flight. No big deal. And then we are staying a night in a hotel between, just in case. Like I'm not trying to, have the flights not work out. So we got Hyatt, which Hyatt's a Chase transfer partner, the best one. So if you're looking at hotels, I know you said you lived in Airbnbs, but if you're looking for a hotel and you have a Chase card, Hyatt's the way. We're staying at a Hyatt, like, an airport Hyatt. I think it was $170 a night. We paid 5,000 points.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So some of these, like the transfer is really where it's at. It just takes some legwork.
I never think about the transfers. How do you find the transfer partners? Like, is it just in the fine prints or, I never think about that
list? of transfer partners?
Yeah. Like who are the transfer partners? Yeah.
So they will have them, like a lot of times they'll have them on like the Chase site or the Capital One site.
Oh, okay.
There's also some really big blogs out there. The Points Guy is a big one, and Frequent Miler is actually my favorite. And both of those will have lists of all of them and also how they transfer, which is important. So most of them are 1-to-1, but some random ones will be like 3-to-1, which of course is not a good deal. They don't do that.
Right. Yeah.
But they'll have a list there. And then the harder thing to do is to find flights that work and that aren't like crazy expensive, because you get these amazing flights. So 60,000 points for a $4,000 flight is crazy. But then you get some that are like 120,000 points for a $600 flight. And you're like, well, that's horrible.
Yeah, so right.
Finding them
points have different values and redemptions can be different. Yeah, it's so smart.
And well, it used to work way easier for us. And of course, we made it harder, which is it used to be like a chart. So it was like, okay, you're going this far, it costs this many points. So easy. But now everything's gone to dynamic pricing. So it's like, it depends on how busy it is or what season it is or, all those things. So it does make it a little more difficult. And in a full disclosure type moment, I'll tell you that I looked at flights, all kinds of combinations from all these different loyalty programs for probably 2 to 3 weeks, just kind of randomly, like I do on couch watching TV and just like, I wonder like this, airport, or like, I wonder this, company. And we had specific dates. So, I couldn't, if you can play with your dates, it can get even better. But ours were pretty set. We had to get back home. I do have to go teach eventually.
Right. You do have to go work.
Unfortunately. So we had those. And the way you do that, which is laborious for sure, is you have to have accounts for all these loyalty programs. So you do have to go and make all of these, loyalty accounts, but they're free. You put your email in, same as anything else. And then you can just go and instead of looking like you normally would, you say like book with points. And then you just run searches like you normally would. There's other services. Point.me is another one. And that one you can like pay $5 a day or $12 a month, and it will run it for you and tell you what the best ones are. So that one I've never used before. I was right about to when I found the 60,000 like business class. I was so close.
You're like, I don't need that. I've got this.
Well, I was like, how do you do this? Like, how do people find these redemptions? And everyone kind of keeps it a secret. Like they don't tell their thing. And so there might be an easier one. There might be someone out there being like, no, there's a way easier way. But for me, I literally I do go to Google Flights. If you don't already use that, that's the best.
Yes.
Because it will show you all the prices and everything. So I use Google Flights to see what airlines like are having a lot of flights out of that area, or if it's a major hub or something like that. And then that's where I start.
Smart.
So it doesn't always work that's the best way, but it at least gives you an idea of like, okay, if United comes here all the time, maybe United has a good plane, a good deal. And if it's cheaper in cash, there's a fairly good chance it's cheaper in points, although that doesn't always work out. But again, it's a good place to start.
Building a private practice can be challenging. I know for me, when I was starting out, I had no idea how to get referrals. I had no idea how to manage paperwork. I knew nothing about insurance billing. The whole process was really daunting. Building a private practice can be challenging, to say the least. I remember when I was starting out, I had no idea how to get referrals. I had no idea how to navigate insurance. I had no idea even what paperwork was required. So growing a caseload, navigating insurance, and managing billing and paperwork all take significant amounts of time. And that's all in addition to delivering great care to your clients. That's why Alma gives clinicians the tools they need to build a thriving private practice. When you join their insurance program, you can get credentialed within 45 days and access to enhanced reimbursement rates. They also handle all the paperwork from eligibility checks to claim submissions, and they guarantee payment within 2 weeks of each appointment. So in addition to their insurance program, Alma also offers time-saving tools and administrative support, so you can spend less time on paperwork and more time delivering great care to your clients and traveling the world. Learn more about building a thriving private practice with Alma at helloalma.com/Kim. That's helloalma.com/KYM to get started.
Yeah, because I'm like, wait a second, am I paying more if I use the points or in cash? You got to like do like some weird math to be able to figure that stuff
Yes.
out sometimes. But yeah.
I always think about it. And again, some points and miles people would come at me for this, but I just think it's way easier this way. I think about points at minimum as 1 cent per point because I know I can get that with the eraser.
Yeah.
So, if something costs $300 and it's 35,000 points, I'm not going to buy that because I could literally erase it for cheaper on Capital One. And I do have a hunk of Capital One points. So if I wanted to do that, I have that option. But if it's, double that or even like 1.5 times it, then I'll start to think about maybe this is better to buy in points.
Wow. Oh, such great tips. Oh my gosh. So what's your strategy? Because here's where I usually get stuck, right? I get the cards, right? I get that initial bonus, but then I've got like 8 cards that have got annual fees.
Yeah.
So what's your strategy around that? Because I know if you cancel a card, right, that's bad for your credit. So you don't really want to cancel them. But I just wonder, like, do you have a strategy around like what do you do with them now that I've got the 90,000 and just goes back to like regular point accumulation? Like, what do you do with that?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. One, we're pretty specific on which cards that we're going to get that have an annual fee. Again, doesn't mean we won't pay annual fees. We have an Amex Gold that has a pretty high one. The Capital One Venture X has a really high one. Marriott has one. We have quite a few with annual fees. But it's funny, I was just writing an article about this today.
Cool.
Literally, I was like, what are all these things that we're keeping up with? We have they have recurring benefits, some of them. So for example, the Marriott card, it has a free night certificate every year. So while I'm only paying $95 for it, and it's not really accumulating points for me, it is giving me a free hotel night that's worth more than $95 every year.
That makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of people would call that a sock drawer card. So it's not one that you're using to accumulate points, but it's giving you other value that makes up for its annual fee. You know what I mean? And so there's that. And quite a few of them, if they're not making up their annual fee, they're pretty close. So like the Amex Gold has a $240 in like Grubhub and Uber Cash, rebates over the year. And it's a $250 card. So, okay, I'm paying the $10. If I use all the rebates, which you do need to, we have a spreadsheet. So again,
that's smart.
Again, this is takes a little bit. And while I might look like a crazy person, I also do, I'm drinking my champagne on my lay flat seat. So you win some, you lose some. Look a little crazy, but also get the business flight. But so on our spreadsheet, we'll kind of keep up with what are the benefits that we're getting with this card that make it worth the annual fee or not. And if it's not worth the annual fee, so if you get to the end, you got your bonus, but you're like, it just it's not working. I'm not using those things anymore. There's 2 options. Amex is really good for retention offers.
Oh yeah.
So not all cards will be so nice about it, but Amex is kind of a big one for it. So you can call them and just say like, I'm thinking about canceling this card because I'm just not really seeing the value in it. And a lot of times they'll give you a chunk of points to keep it. And if they're giving you 30,000 points, you can get at least $300. So that $90 annual fee, not so bad for another year.
Yeah. So smart.
But if they don't give you that, or you're just like, no, I really can't afford to have this card anymore, you can do 2 things. You can just cancel it. And if you haven't had it that long, if you only got it for the 1 year, it'll ding your credit score, but it probably won't do too much to it. You don't want to cancel your longest credit. That would be really bad.
Yeah.
But if it's a new one, you definitely want to wait at least a year because then banks will start looking at you weird. If you just, have cards for a year and then you cancel them, they're going to start to get a little nervous about you. But if you've had it for a year, you can cancel it or you can downgrade it.
Okay.
So we downgraded a card, easily. We just called Capital One. We had 2 Venture X cards, or not Venture X, but just the Venture card. And it's $95. We didn't both need to pay $95 because we weren't both using it. We were all using one card. And so we called and downgraded it to whatever they have. I don't even remember what it's called, but it's some other venture card they have. Yeah. That's a 0 annual fee. And so you can just downgrade it. Not all cards have a downgrade path, but most do. Most all of them. So that's the other option kind of is like asking to downgrade to their free no annual fee cards.
That's smart.
And most of the time they will because they want to keep you as a customer, and
right.
kind of your other option is, well, I'm going to cancel this card then. So that is,
Yeah. No, that's smart.
I think if you really look into it, you'll find that most cards with annual fees kind of make up for themselves as long as you're using them.
I find that like I've got one that gives me Clear for free and one that gives me, the global entry thing for free and like two free international bags on the flights. Like there's stuff like that if you pay attention, it does kind of add up. Free lounge access. Yeah.
Yeah. Just to give you an example of one that was my very first like expensive pay card that I got really nervous about. And then now I'm like, why doesn't everyone have this card? Is the Venture X. So I know I've been talking about Capital One a lot, but I do love Capital One. So we have the Venture X. We have one of them between the two of us. And my husband has it. So I'm an authorized user, which is free. So that'll come back into play in a minute. Okay. So it's $395 a year. So I mean, sticker shock for sure, right? Almost $400.
Yeah.
But it has $300 of travel credits when booked through the portal, but that includes hotels, rental cars, flights. I wouldn't use it for flights just because I get nervous about third-party flights, but we use it for hotels beautifully in Spain. And so $300, that waives that out. As long as you're going to use $300 a year, that's done. And then it gives you 10,000 anniversary points, which at 1 cent per point is $100.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Those you can keep forever. Like you have to use the 300 every year, but that 10,000 will just sit for whenever you need it. So really, you're getting paid $5 to have that card. And it also comes with TSA PreCheck /global entry. It has like Hertz President's Circle. You just like go and grab a car. And then it has lounge access. It has Priority Pass and Plaza Premium. So for this essentially free card, as long as you use the benefits, we're like also hanging out in lounges, going through TSA PreCheck. It's a good life, good travel life.
I love an airport lounge.
Yes. Once you go airport lounges, you wonder how you ever have been in an airport without one.
Seriously.
No more than like $8 of Cheez-Its, like none of that.
No way. You just go there, eat whatever you want, get some champagne, hang out.
Yeah. Makes it a lot better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Travel days become less like, travel day, and more like, I can go. It's almost like being at a spa or something.
It is. They have showers and work cubicles, and it's awesome. If you guys have never done that before, you have to. And one of my cards, I can't remember which one. I think it's my American Express has the Priority Pass where, you could just get into like lounges in every airport, wherever you go.
That Capital One does too.
Oh, they do. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. Sometimes those Priority Pass lounges get full.
Yeah, that happened to me. And I don't even remember where I was. I feel like I was in like Atlanta or something. And I was like, it was like a long layover. I was like, cool, I'll just hang out in this lounge. And then it was like, they were like, here's your number. We'll call you and you can come in. And it was like 5 hours later. I was like, oh my God, this makes me so mad. But so sometimes it's not perfect, but it's worked out pretty well. A couple places.
I've only been turned down. I've had to wait a couple of times, but honestly, I think only 20-30 minutes maybe. And that was at Orlando. And I've been turned down in Boston, but then there was another one. I just went to that one instead. So
that's cool.
We've had pretty good luck. And we've had them, wild as this is, they had Priority Pass lounges in all the airports we went on this like crazy trip. So JFK, and then they had it in Doha, like Qatar.
Wow.
And that was a really nice one. And then they had it in Rwanda. They had a lounge. And then they had it in Uganda. All of them had Priority Pass lounges. I was like, this cannot be right. Like it was amazing. And while it wasn't like super fancy, it had air conditioning, which the rest of the airport did not. And it still had drinks and really good food. I mean, it was very comfortable, all of them. So we were very happy to have the car on that trip.
Oh, I love that. Yes, that's so cool. Well, God, I feel like I could just talk to you for like 5 hours. But
hey, don't tempt me. I'll stay here all day.
I know, seriously. This will be like a 3-parter.
Yeah.
So can you tell everybody about yourself and what you do offer? Because I know you have a podcast, you have a travel agency. So I'd love for you to just share about that too, because I know I'm going to go subscribe to your podcast right after this.
Thank you. Yeah, so our podcast is called Travel More, easy to remember. Okay. And my husband and I host it. And it is all about all the things we just talked about. So really how to make this like travel dream a reality. So how to get out there. Some of it's points and miles, some of it's itinerary planning. We have things about road trips and cruising and a little bit of Disney. We don't do a lot of Disney because, you know, not everyone's into Disney, but we do a little bit of theme park stuff and just kind of a good like Mod Podge of like tips, hacks, what our experiences has been, our fails, our total travel fails
that's important
definitely
too.
learn from. We do an Airbnb versus hotel episode where we have some crazy Airbnb experiences.
Oh, I want to hear that one.
Some really awesome ones and some really not great ones.
We've had some doozies too. Yeah, for real.
Oh, I'm sure if you're living in them, I can't even imagine. So you know, some different, hopefully entertaining stories around those kinds of things. But really our goal is just to get more people out there because we just see how like life-changing travel can be. I just talked all about this travel hacking, but honestly, my favorite part of travel hacking is that it got my dad. I got him signed up for it. And in the like year and a half he's been doing it, he came and saw us because he lives in Memphis and we live in Connecticut. And then he went and saw a friend he hasn't seen in 30 years. Just because he was able to do the plane ticket. And then he went with us to Europe for the first time ever. He's never been to Europe and he went with us.
I love that.
Yeah. And it's all because of this like travel hacking. And I just like, I want everyone to be able to have like those types of just life-changing experiences and be able to share them with friends and families is the best part of all of this. And so that's really why we made the podcast, was so more people can take advantage of these things. And it's not just like hidden away for the few.
Yes. Oh, I love that so much. I can't wait to listen. Yeah, I really. And how about the travel agency? Do you want to tell us about that too?
Yeah. So I just told you we don't do a lot of Disney. And then the travel agency is mostly a Disney and Universal agency. So I don't know if you're familiar with travel agents really, because I feel like people don't even know they exist anymore, but we do. We're here.
Yeah. When I read that, I was super interested. I wanted to know more about it because for the traveling therapist, I keep thinking I want to plan like destination stuff for all of us to go together, not really retreats, but just like packages, you know? So when I read that, I was like, that's what I need, like a travel agent to help like coordinate all that. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So we have two. So we've split our brand kind of into two areas. Travel More is our podcast kind of adventure brand. And then Magic Pass Travel Company is where it started. So that's our agency. And that agency focuses mostly on Disney and Universal travel. Nice. And if you didn't already know, Disney and Universal build in the cost of a travel agent in your like packages. So you don't actually pay any extra to use a travel agent. And I didn't know that either before I've had the business a few years now, but I had no idea. I was thinking like, why would people pay on top of like an already very expensive Disney trip to have someone plan it for you? There's so many resources online. And then I found out it was free and I get paid anyways just from Disney. So I really think that if you are not like a super, super fan that's going multiple times a year, you just use a travel agent. It is so much easier. Like the things that I like just keep on top of that would just take you so many hours to know. And we were just at, like I said, we were just at Disney and we were walking down Main Street, or actually we were in Hollywood Studios. And this person said, "Is that Fantasmic?" And it was just like random fireworks. And they're like, I guess that was it. And my husband and I were like, no, that's not it. We're like, that makes us so sad because like people have those kinds of experiences and they're like looking for somewhere to eat and everywhere has reservations. And it's like, oh, I could have saved you all this heartache for literally no money. I just like planning. I think it's fun.
Yes. I love it. Yes.
Anyways, that's how the travel agency was born. And now I have a few agents that work for me and we all kind of do Disney Universal. And then Travel More is about to also offer trips, but they're going to be what you're talking about. So like curated bucket list destination type trips. And we're going to offer them. We're going to start in August. You get our sneak peek here. We're going to offer them in August. And my husband and I are going to go on them. So we're going to go and be like the tour leaders. And then we're going to offer spots. I think we're going to cap it at 10. So it's like a small group. We're working with very small local agencies with like local guides. and we're just going to go to these bucket list trips. So we're going to hopefully try to build kind of a community of people who want to get out there and don't really know where to start. And my really quick story, I know we're going to talk for literally hours, but my really quick story on that is that idea kind of was born out of this trip I was just talking about to Uganda last summer. We went, and we're not like people who go on tours because we've been traveling forever, and we just feel like we can do it. We don't need a tour guide. We're not going to do that. But then when we were going to go to Uganda, we're like, well, I think we need a tour guide in Uganda. Like, I'm not really sure how to even do it without one.
Yeah.
So we did the tour, we did the whole package thing where you kind of just pay a set amount and you go. And first of all, liberating, just such a liberating vacation. I didn't feel like I had to take care of everything. Like, we just went to a place to eat. I didn't have to take all the time to like figure out where was good. Like, they just took us to the really nice restaurants, places they know and they like. And so like, one, it was just so easy. It was like the most relaxing vacation I've ever had. And it was not relaxing. Like, we were up and at it all the time, but it just was such a mental load off my plate that it was really cool. And then the other part was the company was incredible. Like our tour guide that we had, which I can't even, it makes like, it feels weird to call him a tour guide and not just a friend. We talked to him once a week, and that was a year ago we took this, and we talk to him all the time. And we feel like we have this connection with Uganda and our friend there. And he just showed us everything. And I just it's like hard to even put into words how like amazing and connected I felt to the place and the people and the cultures, because it felt like we were just hanging out with a friend for 2 weeks, but the friend who lived there, I could show you and was a translator and knew all the cool places. It's like going to visit a friend that like lives somewhere, like when you're like, oh, my friend is in London, I'll go talk to them. And they bring you to all the cool places. That's how this felt. And I was like, ooh, this is much different than I thought. I'm thinking someone's gonna be holding a little flag and we're maybe following along, and it was absolutely not like that. So we have been working really hard and meeting a lot of people and doing a lot of networking to find similar companies that operate in different places in the world to bring those types of experiences to other people. Because the other thing is vetting them can be really hard. You don't know which one you're getting. So we've kind of spent the year vetting some companies, and we feel really confident in the ones that we've chosen in the destination. So we're very excited. So that's its own little thing.
And those trips are so special. Like my mom and I, we did like Spain and Portugal on one of those, it's like a bus trip where they plan the hotels and you take the huge like tour bus basically from place to place. It was so fun. Like they had the entertainment planned, extra excursions you could do, all the meals, we had a great time. You just hop on the bus and they take you to the next place and the next hotel.
I read this thing and it was like, not your grandmother's tour guide or something. And I was like, that is how they feel right now, because I think there's such a want and a desire to be like culturally immersed in a place and not just do the like follow the flag type, like this is the Colosseum. This is the, you know what I mean? And people can do that online. You can like go VR to the Colosseum, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
exactly.
It's like, yes, I know that. I want to see it. I want to see it in person, but like, I also want to really be immersed. And because of that, I think it's kind of changed the whole industry. And like, I mean, I've been a part of a lot of them. We go to conferences and we're pretty well connected to the travel industry as a whole. And I can see that shift in all the marketing and all the everything is like, even these really big tour bus companies, like really big ones, are starting to kind of scale down and being like, okay, we'll take, 20 to 40 people as opposed to 150 people. We'll do these kind of smaller, more intimate type touring. And I think that that's really where the industry is going, which I'm excited about, because like I said, I didn't know it could be better than I could have ever done it. Like I just feel like, oh, I'm so good at planning travel. And then I was like totally put in my place by this tour company. I was like,
you're
wow,
like, no, they're way better.
Amazing. I was like, wow, I should have someone from local plan all my trips for me. This is amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
and that's what you're going to do with the travel agency. You're going to be able to curate and connect people to those types of trips, which is so
exactly.
Cool.
Yeah. And really have my like really trustworthy group of local operators that I can kind of connect with.
Nice. I love that so much. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been so cool having you as a guest. So if they want to reach out to you, they can find you through the travel agency. What was it called again?
Magic Pass Travel Company. That's our Disney Universal.
Okay. And then
what was the podcast? The podcast is Travel More. So it's 2 words, easy peasy. And that will have all of our information. We have travelmorepodcast.com. And obviously that's all in the show notes as well. So
cool.
If you find us on Apple or Spotify or Google or, anywhere you find a podcast, Travel More, and all the links should also be in all the show notes. But travelmorepodcast.com is another way.
Yes, I love that. I might ask you to come back and be a guest in I have a traveling therapist membership, and they were asking for traveling hacks. So they want a whole month focused on that stuff. So I might reach back out to you and see if you want to come join us there too, because we want to do a whole month on really how do we hone in on this and do it for real.
Absolutely.
So that'd be really cool. Yeah.
I'd love to come back. Yeah, it's been so fun.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening to the Traveling Therapist Podcast. For show notes, links, and downloads, head over to thetravelingtherapist.com, where you'll be able to learn more about my journey, the courses I've created for you, and other exciting resources to make your dreams become a reality. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share with your traveling therapist friends, subscribe to the podcast, and if you loved this episode, please leave a review.